Welcome back to Reputation at Stake. I'm Pep.
I'm Fisher.
And today we are talking about the carnivore diet. This is our week 17 update. And how was your week, Fisher?
Well, my week was really interesting.
You're not allowed to be done petting.
Oh, sorry. She said, pet me. This is her table, by the way. If you're
Snickers table.
So whenever we do the show, she's waiting for us to get out of her way. So for my update from Saturday to Saturday is from 302.2 last week to 300 even. So I've lost 2 pounds, 0.2. But when I look at it, it does.
You went down even more, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually.
You would have lost like 4 pounds.
Yes.
If it stayed at that number.
Right, 298 point something, 6 or somewhere in there. I dropped pretty good, and then so there's a weird fluctuation, but it ultimately it's going down. Right?
Yeah, you've had a lot of ups and like when we first started the diet, I would say the first 2 months was down, like hardly any ups, and it was so addicting to step on the scale and see those numbers just dropping. I mean, even if it was a 0.2 of a pound, it was like yes.
Right.
And then this last month has been up and down for all three of us. Mom's also doing the diet, and Randy and I.
Right.
So I find that so interesting because we love those downward trends because we're doing carnivore diet to improve our health, to feel better, and to lose weight. Like our ultimate goal right now is just to lose weight.
Right.
So
ultimately.
Yeah, ultimately.
The long haul,
But you did lose 2 pounds.
Right. Which
so that's good.
Pretty. In the beginning, I was losing a half a pound a day, and I was so happy. And that, by the way, that's really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of water weight in the very beginning, right, with any diet.
Yeah, that looks so good on scale.
It really does.
Because it comes off in like 10-pound chunks. And
right. And then it switched to like 0.2 pounds a day, or whatever.
But it was still downward trend, right?
Right. So it just depends, really.
But last week, I think you only lost 0.2. So the fact that you lost 2.2 feels good, right?
It does. It's a substantial, because ultimately I've been hovering around 300 for so long, and there's this thought in your mind that says, I want to break the threes, go down into the 200s. So, I finally broke it and then popped right back up at 300 even just for the show, because that's what I do.
For you.
Yep.
You. We lose weight for you. Gain and lose it.
Not good. Okay, so that's my situation. How about you?
Yeah, my situation sucks. I'll just be honest with you. So I hit my new all-time low, I think, on Monday. And then I decided not to weigh for a while. And then Thursday or Friday, I think it was Friday, I went ahead and weighed. So it had been all week.
Right.
And I spiked up 8 pounds, and I was like, well, I don't feel like I'm 8 pounds heavier. I mean, I feel healthy and good. And so, and then Saturdays are the weight that's going to matter for the update, right? And so I weighed myself Saturday, and I had lost 1 pound. So total weight gained is 7 pounds. Well, then I thought, I love non-scale victories, so what's my measurement? So I went ahead and measured my body all over, and I actually gained 5 inches all over my entire body.
Okay.
So I think, Monday and Tuesday, I wasn't feeling great. I never got sick, but I noticed I'm a little bit drainy, and I think you've been sneezing. Yeah. So I wonder if we're not fighting a bug.
Right. Some of my friends are sick too, right? Yeah. So I've noticed it's going around.
Winter is coming. School's back in session. A lot of germs floating around as everyone gets together and people are, pushed more to their limits than they have been all summer. Weakened immune system. So I do believe one reason, I didn't have a donut.
Yeah.
I didn't have pizza. I didn't eat anything I shouldn't. I've eaten only meat. We have our coffee stuff.
We had half a wedding cake. Nothing big.
Nothing big.
It was a carnivore cake filled with icing and sugar. No, just kidding.
I wish. I haven't cheated at all. But I do believe that there's sickness going around, and when you have sickness, you get inflammation. So I looked up, what does inflammation mean? Because it's this fun word to throw around and say, I'm doing the carnivore diet to get rid of inflammation.
Right.
WebMD says the word inflammation kind of means set a fire. set a fire. And it makes sense because when you have the bad kind of inflammation, or so good inflammation is if you break your bone, your body sends in the cavalry and, surrounds that bone with, I think it's white blood cells, and causes heat and swelling, but it's also bringing blood supply and healing, and that's why our bodies can heal.
Okay.
Bad inflammation is your body goes into overdrive and just sends inflammation to random spots or joints, or, and I think it's trying to protect itself, but then it goes a little haywire and overprotects. It's like an overprotective mother, and the child never gets a chance to live on their own.
Right.
And then long term, that causes bad things. Like long-term inflammation can cause arthritis, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, and a few other things, heart disease. And that's just from our bodies being in a state of total inflammation all the time. And that's bad inflammation. So I wonder if, because we're feeling a little bit under the weather, if we're getting like a bug, I wonder if that weight gain I saw is my body's response to fighting off a sickness, and not really so much that I've gained fat. Even though I've put on inches throughout my body, maybe I'm not gaining weight, I'm just swollen.
Yes, swollen.
All right,
like in weightlifting, they say swole, But, that makes sense. Yeah, because you didn't have food that would make you overweight like that.
So since winter is coming and there's sickness, I wanted to talk a little bit about bone broth real quick. We did get some store-bought bone broth, and I tried it, and I'm not a fan. It's an all-natural bone broth, and some of the things that they add in it were yeast and meat flavoring.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm not really sure why, because we actually are working on a YouTube short and a video of us making bone broth.
Right.
It tastes delicious.
Our
bone broth tastes delicious
without the yeast or the
I didn't. I did use herbs, and that's
garlic, celery seeds,
salt and pepper. And if I had other herbs, I'd probably put other herbs in it, because
herbs are so small. Why they're not like a bunch of carbs.
Well, they don't cause me to feel bad, and they don't cause you to feel bad, and we enjoy the flavor. So I'm sorry, guys, I can't be diehard. I am meat, salt, water, but for the most part, I can't be diehard.
We like garlic. There's some seasonings,
and it doesn't seem to affect us yet.
Right, we're still losing weight. Yeah. If it was like the clincher, we might consider trying to figure it out. But salt's on the diet.
Yeah. So absolutely. So I was curious, what are the benefits of bone broth? Because you always, when someone gets the cold and flu, there was a saying, you starve one and feed the other.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's feed a cold, starve a flu. But a lot of people would call chicken soup Jewish penicillin, because in the Jewish communities, if you get sick, they'll start handing out chicken broth to everyone. And so it was kind of I think it's a nice term. I think it's a really thoughtful thing to do. They'd call it Jewish penicillin, because if you got sick, you would get soup from your neighbors and whatnot.
It's a compliment, is what it sounds like.
Good. Because I think it's awesome when, communities come and take care of each other. So I was curious what's in bone broth that might be healing. And some of the first things that's mentioned is glycine and proline. And those are just big fancy words basically saying that they help rebuild muscles after intense workouts. So if you go and do a lot of heavy lifting, you could drink bone broth, and it might help your recovery.
Okay.
Glycine is really good for your brain. So it helps relax it. Like if you have trouble falling asleep, you might want to try a couple sips of bone broth before you go to bed. It's supposed to help relax your brain and promote that good, deeper sleep. Then there's a whole list of stuff, okay? Like amino acids, minerals, gelatin, vitamin K, iron, manganese, zinc, selenium, and then Randy's favorite is GAG.
GAG, which is an abbreviation for the word
glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid.
Mm-hmm.
Which those are just things that help maintain healthy connective tissue throughout your body. So if you at all are interested in the herbal remedies, there's products called glucosamine chondroitin, and a lot of times they're given to dogs or cats if you can get them to take a pill to help their joints. Humans also can use it to help their joints. I've never found the pill to do miracles for me, because turns out my problem is inflammation and not necessarily something that would be healed by giving myself more connective tissue. But all these good benefits are found in bone broth. So in bone broth, so simple. Randy and I were joking. It's so simple. There used to be a commercial a few years ago, and it was so easy a caveman could do it. And so Randy actually made bone broth for the first time.
Yes.
How hard was it?
It wasn't hard. It took me, I overcomplicate simple things.
Sure. How long did it take? I mean, if you were just to do it from start to finish, how long does it take?
Oh, I would say seconds. We're talking, as long as you've got the chicken and,
Yeah, as long as your chicken's thawed out.
Water ready to go.
Yeah, so you just pack your Instapot or your crock pot full of chicken, and we use chicken thighs.
How long does it take to make a bowl of cereal?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. That's what it is.
So just to simplify it, pack your crock pot or your Instapot or a pot full of chicken bones, chicken wings, chicken thighs, and you want the skin, the cartilage, all the good bits, right? Go ahead and pack your pot full.
Right.
Add water just to cover the top, and add salt. I would not add vegetables or seasonings beyond salt at this point, only because they tend to get bitter when you cook them for a very long time.
Okay.
And then you can add a splash of vinegar if you choose. That's completely up to you. Some people think...
Does that add flavor?
No, some people think it helps leach more minerals out of the bones.
That makes sense.
And then once your meat is cooked, you want to pull your meat out of your broth. You can continue cooking the bones if you want, but you want to pull your meat out.
Out of the broth.
Out of the broth. Otherwise, who wants to eat mushy meat?
Right.
Blah.
Right.
Right? And don't do like us. Do not leave your meat to cool on the stove and then walk away, because we have huge dogs and they got into our meat pot and ate all the chicken.
Yeah. It was a magic trick.
It was a magic trick. So we did get the broth, but we didn't get the meat to make like soup.
Right.
And then you can, I would strain what's left, because you get little bits of bone and weird stuff in it. And then you can put it in the fridge, put it in the freezer, and then as you're getting sick, you have bone broth you can slurp on, and it's really good. And it tastes way better than store-bought bone broth.
Right. That's the thing that I wanted to bring up real quick was this. As a guy who doesn't want to break the diet, but I also, when I'm sick, I'm desperate. I need soup. For those that are out there listening who struggle with this, having bone broth already ready to go in mason jars or however you contain it.
Yeah, you can can it, you can freeze it. It stays good in the fridge for a week or two.
Yeah. And let's say you get sick, instead of having something from the store that's full of preservatives, carbs, whatever they put in there. Which, by the way, in the past, that's what I used to get over sickness. But in this time now, what we can do is grab this mason jar, make it ahead of time. That's the real takeaway, is if you're carnivore and sick season's coming,
save your bones in the freezer.
Yeah, go ahead and make this a project, knock it out.
When you have enough, put them in your crock pot, Instapot, and make yourself some soup.
Ready to go, and it's amazing.
We got almost a gallon from one pack of chicken thighs, like a family pack of chicken thighs.
Right.
We got nearly a gallon of bone broth. And you can even, if you don't feel like storing the whole gallon, you can actually reduce it on your stove. I'm sure there's videos about that, and make it really condensed. And then you could add water later on and make it the strength that you want. But it's so easy.
And just so you know, like in my mind, if it was the first time I saw this, you should expect it to be gelatinous, like Jell-O.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like Jell-O when you pull it out of the refrigerator because of the way marrow works.
Yeah, you've got collagen and gelatin.
There you go.
Collagen and gelatin. And then this also seconds as hydration. So when you get sick, it's tempting. You don't always want to drink water. Like there's just this stop reaction to cold water when you're not feeling good. You might be more willing to sip on warm bone broth when you're not feeling good than you are plain water. And water's good. It does the body good. That's our thoughts is, hey, winter's coming, sickness is coming. Maybe save some bones if you're joining us on the carnivore diet, save your bones. If you're doing keto, save your bones. And then when you have a bunch, or you just want to make chicken's relatively cheap.
Yeah.
Compared to beef.
10 was it legs we put?
Yeah, thighs.
10
thighs.
Sorry, 10 thighs. And how much was that about?
I want to say it was $5 or $6. I got it from Aldi's. It was 98 cents a pound.
I mean, how can you beat that? And it created a whole like crock pot.
2 gallon of a whole gallon.
A whole gallon
of
for $5,
bone
a whole
broth.
gallon.
Yeah.
And it's not like when you squeeze an orange and a little juice comes out. That's kind of with these little bones that are inside the chicken. It's like it's more than that. It's like a lot comes out of that.
Yeah, and you can actually use your bones like 2 or 3 times. Some people do.
Right. Oh,
I don't. Okay, and one more really quick thing, right?
2 or 3 times. Could you imagine squeezing an orange 2 or 3 times and getting a bunch of juice?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Homemade bone broth does smell like wet dog. It's gross.
Oh.
I don't understand why.
Yeah.
I think because we don't add a lot of fragrant herbs and veggies. You know, a lot of people will put like celery and onions, and then you get like the vegetable smell.
Yeah.
Because we don't do that, it smells like wet dog.
I did notice the smell, but it's got nothing to do with the taste.
The taste is amazing.
Right.
It tastes like homemade.
Yeah, in the video that I'm going to post, you lift it up, I drank it, and it tastes a lot like when you have beef stew or chicken soup.
Yeah.
But it's like buttery, a lot more butter involved.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the marrow and all that. So it tastes delicious, is what I'm trying to say. But sorry about the smell if you're not used to it.
Yeah, just a heads up, like your whole house will smell like wet dog. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. So anyways,
You're gonna love it.
if you're starting to get sick on carnivore, I highly encourage you to break things.
Yeah.
It's not, what do you call it?
That over.
What do you say? It's not vandalism if you own it.
It's not vandalism if you own it.
Yeah, so if you're starting to get sick on carnivore, I highly encourage you, do not have any sugar. None.
Why? Tell them why.
Because sugar spikes your inflammation, it tanks your immune system, and I've watched loved ones go through this where they would have honey or pineapple juice or a medication with sugar in it, and they've stayed sick for 3 weeks now.
Okay, but so here's the point I'm going to add to that, and then, right?
And then, yeah.
So it tanks your immune system. Now, I told people at work this, and they looked at me and said, I've never heard of that in my life. And this guy was like 50. And I was like, okay, hold on. Sugar feeds bacteria. It does? Explain. So I said, here you go. Whenever scientists have those little petri dishes, they put them under a microscope. They feed bacteria. All petri dishes have, for the most part, I don't know everything about this, but they have sugar in there, a layer of sugar. That's how they feed the bacteria.
That's how they grow it, yeah.
So scientists know that you feed bacteria with sugar. You should know that when you're sick, you're feeding the bad stuff with sugar. Don't drink soda and have candy bars.
Orange juice. You think orange juice is so healthy, but it's very sugary.
Right.
And it just makes you sick longer, period.
Right. It's surprising. It's surprising how people don't know something as simple as removing sugar for the. Some people know this already. They're like, of course.
Yeah. Well, we found out the hard way because we went to a game night where we bring computers, a LAN party.
Oh, I went to a LAN party.
And you were already feeling, this is before C, where you could go places and be sick, right?
2002.
Yeah. So you were starting to get sick.
Right. Yeah.
And then you had something. What did you eat? You ate or drank a cookie or something?
At the LAN party, because it was a 24-hour LAN party or a weekend. And at the LAN party, they had pizza, cookies, soda. And I was like, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. And I went ahead and had cookies and soda. And all of a sudden, my world changed.
Yeah.
Like my body was turning inside out. Like
I think we left, didn't we?
I had to go home.
Was I with you on that one?
I don't remember.
Or did you just come home?
Yeah. But I know I had to get
I went to like one LAN party my entire life.
And by the way,
two.
we were hosting. I was part of the team hosting the LAN party, and I loved going. So for me to leave was really kind of a big deal.
Yeah, you guys would plan these things for months.
We were trying to make a business out of it, and I had to go home. So
he came home with fever, flu, sickness.
Yeah, like crash.
In bed, called off work, called in sick.
That was my lesson. Don't eat a cookie.
Yeah.
Don't be eating sugar. Don't be drinking soda when you're sick.
Yeah.
You know?
But when we got the big C in 2021, the only thing we craved, it felt like, was sugar, like just desperate need for sugar. And it was the worst thing we could have done to our bodies.
Yeah.
But we wanted orange juice, orange chicken, because you couldn't taste anything. That was also another horrible thing. And it literally, I think we stayed sick for like 3 weeks because even though we were no longer symptomatic or our test came back negative, we stayed like really, really sick because we kept eating sugar. So I think it's good to safely experiment on your body. So if you are starting to get sick, go ahead, and if you are a sugar addict and you eat sugar, I just want you to pay attention to how you feel after try the sugar, you know?
Yeah.
So I would never take anything away. I mean, it's your body, your life. I don't pay your bills or anything else. So you do you, boo.
Yeah.
I'm just saying sugar feeds
bacteria.
Thank you.
If you're sick and you want the sickness, the amount of days to shorten, don't drink soda because you're putting a load on your immune system, because every time you have sugar,
soda, even juices, they're full of sugar, unfortunately.
There's a whole we can just
Google it. Google it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Test it out.
And I mean, you got to do what you got to do. It's so painful when you see a loved one who doesn't understand this very simple thing, because they could have relief in half the time.
Yeah, pretty quickly. The other thing is, of course, keep drinking water, keep your fluids up. You know, that helps kind of rinse don't overdo it. You'll kill your kidneys, whatever. But drink plenty of fluids. Get some sunlight. If you can go outside for a few minutes a day, try and get some sunlight, breathe some fresh air, try and get more sleep. These are all things that will help you get through it quicker. So, but the most important thing is stay away from that dang sugar.
Stay away from that sugar, and we hope to encourage you to go ahead and prepare with bone broth.
Yeah, make it now.
Yeah, we even made a video to...
We'll show it eventually, or tag it or something.
Oh, no, it'll be probably by the time they get this. I'm going to probably link, because most of it's already edited. Most of
that's so cool how we can do links to other things.
Because I really want... My whole thing was I want people who are like me, who have never really made bone broth.
Right.
Because when I hear that, I'm like, oh, the magic of some dark secret. Show me how you did it. And it's like, oh, it's like making cereal. I mean, it's pour this here, turn this on. I mean, you know, the Instapot.
Yeah.
Right? 12 hours done.
That's right. So I hope you all have a great week. I hope you don't get discouraged with our updates of not being like super awesome for me, because you lost 2 pounds.
Yeah.
I didn't lose anything. I gained weight. I put on inches, but you know what? I'm sticking with it. So hopefully next week will bring even better news from me, at least. So Snicker says good luck.
Have fun.
God bless and take care.
All right. God bless everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.